Greetings, JC here with a video about audio, and we're going to talk about my Ortofon OMP10 P-mount Phono cartridge. And yes, this is an update to a video that I posted earlier. You know, when I tell people about what I do on YouTube, especially those who aren't into audio and aren't into following YouTube on a regular basis, I explain to them that in a lot of ways I'm learning in public, especially in the last 6-8 months, because I have been, jumping feet first into the world of vinyl and kind of shifted my focus a little bit. And I'm learning as I go along. And a lot of the times I will get a new piece of equipment or, something that I'm into, and I'll post a video about it, and then my opinion will change either positively or negatively. And I will want to go and update that. And a lot of the times I have to force myself to kind of resist that urge, because if I updated a video every time I learned something new about it, I'd have 400 videos, but they'd all be short little updates tagged onto the 100 I already have. But in this case, I think that it's worth actually reposting a video, because my opinion of this little cartridge has changed dramatically since I've had a chance to listen to it and compare it to other cartridges. In my original video, I harshed it pretty good. I said it was, kind of average sounding and a little bit noisy and hummy and a couple of other things that would, put somebody off. The thing about the Ortofon is that it's very subtle, and its advantages don't jump out at you immediately, especially when you're coming from a cartridge that has a lot of flash, like the Audio-Technica cartridges, which is what I have been playing with on my Lab 2000 turntable. And I was waiting on a new stylus for my Audio-Technica body, and I plugged this thing in and got it to work, and I was looking at it as just sort of an interim cartridge. Hey, I'll run the Ortofon for a while. And the reason why I say I got it to work was because I have had difficulty getting the Ortofon cartridge to actually make contact with the tone arm. And when you plug it in, the pins were not making good contact. But I think that was an oxidization issue with the pins, and me unplugging and plugging in all these Phono cartridges has knocked a lot of that oxide off, so now that's not a problem. It plugs right in and it works fine. So not the cartridge, but the tone arm to blame for that. Anyhow, since I've been listening to it, I have come to appreciate some of the more subtle things about the Ortofon cartridge. First off, for those of you who didn't see the original video, the Ortofon company is a Danish company that makes not only Phono cartridges, and they make a big line of professional cartridges and DJ scratch cartridges. They even have a moving coil cartridge that goes for about $4,000. I wonder what that sounds like. They not only make cartridges to play back records, but they also make the cutter heads to cut the records. So they have a unique perspective. They actually service the system from both ends, from the cutting and the playing back of a record. And the OM series of cartridges, which the OMP10 is one of, are interesting in that they all have interchangeable styluses, and to upgrade the carts, all you have to do is change out the stylus assembly. The OM10 stylus is their basic one, then there's a 20 and there's a 30, and the stylus shapes get more exotic as you move up. The specifications for the cartridge are actually quite interesting and a little bit deceptive when you first look at them. First off, let's talk about output voltage. It's rated at 4 millivolts, which is a little bit lower than the Audio-Technica and the Shure M92E cartridges that I've been playing with, 1 millivolt. However, that is offset by the fact that the cartridge has very little distortion. It does not add hardly any distortion to the signal at all, and I'll get to more about that in just a minute. The frequency response is very nice, 20 to 25, and 20 to 20 is the response. The range is 25. In other words, the cartridge will actually pass something above 20,000 hertz there. It may not be flat, though, is what they're trying to say. But the one thing that's really interesting to look at is the stereo separation numbers, because it's rated at 22 dB at 1 kilohertz, which is not that great compared to some other cartridges. However, at 15 kilohertz, which is way high, the cartridge is rated at 15 dB separation, and that makes a huge difference. And that's not something that's going to be apparently, going to just jump out and grab you when you first listen. You have to listen for a while to catch that that's going on, because it makes the stereo image so real and so wide sounding, because that high end is so well separated. The other thing about the cartridge that I harshed it on before was it does not have the world's greatest hum rejection. However, when I exchanged it with the Shure M92E, lo and behold, I found out that the Shure actually had more hum than the Ortofon. And the Audio-Technicas tend to have a little less hum than the Ortofon. But where the Ortofon really shines is two things. First of all, the frequency response is very flat and uncolored, and it has this wonderfully silky high end. The other thing that makes it just an absolute pleasure to listen to is the fact that the stylus tracks perfectly. It's just amazing how well this tracks. I was listening to Simon & Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water earlier today. This is not the greatest pressing of this. As a matter of fact, it's a original 1970. It's been played. It's not in bad shape, but it is not a brand new mint condition record. And it was just amazing the detail it pulled out of it. I even went and got the 1995 CD, which is an extremely good sounding CD. It does not suffer from overcompression or overprocessing, just very clean. And I compared the two, and I was really impressed because the worn record held its own against the CD. And this is a very fine-sounding CD. This sounds better than most other CDs. As a matter of fact, the record had a little bit more sparkle to it. So the advantages of the Ortofon are very subtle, and they take a while to creep up on you. And since I was coming from having been listening to this guy for a while, this is the Audio-Technica 301 EP, I was really, it felt like going downhill, because the 301 EP is a cartridge that is extremely bright and has a very dense low end, and it's very brash sounding, which is great if you have, modern pressings of pop music. Sounds wonderful for that. However, when you start playing records that have a little bit of wear, and you start playing some records that have a lower level of audio recorded on them, you really start to notice, especially in comparison to the Ortofon, that there's the cartridge itself is inducing distortion into the audio. Very subtle distortion, but it's there. The distortion levels on the 301 EP are higher than the Shure M92E, and the Ortofon has less distortion than the Shure M92E. The sound of the Shure M92E and the Ortofon are very comparable. However, the Ortofon has more detail and more of a solid feel to it. You can hear things going on that you just cannot hear with the M92E, and the M92E is a fine-sounding cartridge. So I wanted to, get on here and give the Ortofon the accolades that it's due, because it is a great cartridge for acoustic music. It's a wonderful cartridge for classical music or maybe quiet jazz, that sort of thing. And it holds its own with rock and roll. And for right now, the Ortofon is going to be my main cartridge, and the Audio-Technica cartridges are going to play backup roles right now, simply because I'm so enthralled with the way this sounds. Like I said, it snuck up on me. And the Audio-Technica 301 EP, the reason why I was not using it, since I have switched over to the Lab 2000 as my full-time turntable, getting away from the half-inch LP 120, I had ordered a new stylus for this cartridge, and I decided to go ahead and get this hyper-elliptical SE stylus. So I was waiting for that, and I was going to put the Shure M92E back on the turntable, and I decided to put the Ortofon on. The tone arm issue had gone away, and I was, just wanted to see what it sounded like. And anyhow, my opinion has changed. I think that the Ortofon is probably the best sounding P-mount cartridge that I own. It may even be better than the half-inch cartridges that I have as well. Time will tell. I'm going to leave it on the turntable, and should I come across another P-mount tone arm that needs one, I will put the 301 EP in its place. Actually, I'm using the Akai PC35 body with the brand new stylus in it, and the 301 EP body is in a box somewhere, because that combination was cleaner than the 301 EP body. After hearing the Ortofon, I went back and checked that out, see. So anyhow, JC here. I hope this video helped you out a little bit, and if you're considering getting an Ortofon OMP10 either for a 1/2 inch and you plan to use an adapter to make it work, or for a P-mount turntable, it's definitely worth the price. They're on sale right now at Needle Doctor for $84, which is not bad at all. And Needle Doctor is one of the few places in the country that you can get yourself a Ortofon OMP10, as these are imported from Denmark. So there you go. JC, waving bye-bye. Thanks for watching.